married the cool girl boy from your high school. What are they like now? My sister married the prom king and starting running back from her high school. He got fat, but also is a nice dude who makes a killing running some kind of raw materials company. Doesn't talk about the past at all. Many former athletes get fat because they got a taste of freedom that they don't need to maintain their workout and diet anymore. I am a former fighter and I am now fat. My mum was the nerdy girl who got all the A's and had zero social skills, and somehow managed to start dating my dad, who was the popular, good-looking guy who everyone thought would peak in high school. She was actually advised by her family and friends that he wouldn't give her the future she was hoping for. They got married at 19, had me when they were 20, and while they were pretty broke the first few years of my life, he paid for my mum to attend law school, started his own business, and 25 years later with 3 kids, they're still so in love and have a pretty cushy life. My dad actually met one of the loud voices who told my mum she was making a big mistake marrying him, and she had said how she always knew he would turn out well, which he found hilarious. My dad was crazy popular. Prom king, running back, serious ladies' man. He met my mom in a nursing class in college which he took to meet girls. Lecture course, and he was the only guy in a sea of women. This was the 70s. They married, he became a car salesman, developed a terrible drug habit, and died of a heart attack at 52. My husband was the prom king and star athlete. I was a super awkward marching band nerd with severe scoliosis and a heart condition. He's always been sweet, silly, smart, and kind. Still can't believe we're married. Edit. I'll add that we didn't go to the same high school, but we met in college. My confidence had drastically improved by then. I was still a dork though, and he was a college baseball player. Pitcher. Honestly, we're both dorks. My wife was the hot girl that everyone gossiped about. She's still super hot but is such a wonderful, supportive, loving person. It makes me sad no one took the time to get to really know her when she was young. Hey buddy, you did! That's all that matters. Didn't marry her, but we dated for a bit. She moved to Arizona for college, stayed there, then became a firefighter. Came out as gay and married a woman. We lost touch, but she seems happy. Mom was the cool girl. Still is, still literally gets stopped by strangers talking about how cool, pretty, whatever she looks acts. But divorced, husband cheated, and widowed, second husband died, so never really managed to get a happily ever after in romance. I've only seen her as a grown-up, of course, but going by pictures plus what I remember as a kid, she hasn't changed all that much. I think sometimes she's too used to people being in her orbit, and will get sad if something happens where she's not involved. Not overly so, but you can see she's expecting everyone to always want her there. I had 2 kids with a former prom king. He's a crackhead now. Yeah, I'm a mailman and I delivered the cool kid from high school his unemployment check. He was also living in the shittiest part of town and obviously got into drugs pretty bad. Apparently he peaked early. I'm the opposite of this question. I totally peaked in high school. Was cheerleading captain, valedictorian, prom queen. Super involved and outgoing. Now I'm fat and very unnoticeable, not pretty and maybe not ugly, just bland, and incredibly shy and reserved. Don't really have any friends. But married my high school sweetheart, who was quiet and mostly flew under the radar, and now he is outgoing, successful, and more handsome by the year. My mom was the elite Atlanta debutante, and lived a very cushy life at a budding Miami country club. Beautiful and very popular at the private school. My dad grew up on a farm in Virginia. They weren't poor, but they were definitely not refined. Eventually my father's family made it down to Miami after selling the farm. He became the lifeguard at the country club pool where my mom spent days lounging about. My parents say they saw each other, and that was it. The scandal was great, the debutante and the lowly lifeguard. They just celebrated 54 years of marriage. My lowly lifeguard father made quite the life for my mom regardless of what all those elite twats said was going to happen. She gladly left the country club life for him, and they are still so utterly in love it's crazy. He carries a photo of her at the pool where they met. The only references she makes to being that girl are that they proved everyone wrong. They are beautiful and I love their story. Did your maternal grandparents disapprove of him? Or did they embrace your dad? Was it one of those challenges your parents had to deal with? They very much disapproved. My grandmother was not a nice person, and my mother's older sister was the most vocal about how her life would turn out. But after seeing how hard my father worked, and how he treated my mom, her parents came around. My father was very successful and they live a comfortable life. My mom's life turned out far better than her sister's. I've never been close to my aunt. She reminds me of the wicked stepsisters in Cinderella. I didn't marry one, but my husband is friends with a few guys that peaked in high school and they feel the need to relive that shit. Still talking about the championship that got away 20 years ago. I graduated in 1979, and there is this one woman who is still talking about being a cheerleader and posting photos of herself in her cheer uniform. I deleted FB strictly because of her. The second-hand embarrassment was too strong. My brother was the cool kid in his grade, which extra annoyed me because I was a year older and a lot of my friends asked about him. He felt a lot of pressure to stay the coolest kid, so he made a lot of shitty choices because doing blow is what the cool kids are doing, I guess. He went to rehab by the time he was 16. He pretty much threw his life away after that and has been in and out of jail and prison since then, 16 years later. Peer pressure is a hell of a drug. I married the cool, outgoing, outdoorsy, sporty high school jock. Turns out he's secretly as geeky and introverted as I am. He's still the same person 25 years later. My mom was the cool girl all through high school, undergrad, grad school. But life didn't go that well. For most of her life, she had to be caring for someone in the family who was ill, and that took a huge toll on her. First it was her dad, then it was me. I had childhood illnesses, then her in-laws in quick succession, then her dad again, and finally she had to nurse my dad until he passed away from a terminal illness. She was meant to be social and have fun, and instead she was forced to be around sickness and sadness for her best years. But she is a very happy and mentally strong person in general who made the best of things. She hosted a lot of people and events. My house growing up was full of people visiting and having fun. She's very charming and easy to talk to, and has a lot of fans all the time. Though my siblings and I find her social side rather annoying. She isn't like that with us, and she tells us her charming side is just an act, and the real her is the lady who is constantly critical of us, for our own good. She likes having groupies hanging around, people who are happy to take her help and be grateful to her. She has very few friends who could be considered her equals. She also expects a lot from other people and is constantly disappointed. She wants to be the center of everything. She doesn't know to be a guest at anything. She somehow ends up running every event she's invited to. She sincerely believes she's helping, but it's just disrespectful sometimes, and when we tell her that, she doesn't get it. She likes to dominate everything and make decisions for everyone. We joke that if the Prime Minister was her friend, she'd somehow end up running the country for him. My husband was the good-looking athletic guy with a great sense of humor that all of the girls adored. I was the petite blue-eyed blonde cheerleader that he chased for all 4 years in high school. We ended up getting together after high school graduation and were engaged 6 months later. I should have kept running from him like I did in school. He's now an addict who is verbally and emotionally abusive. He's a compulsive liar, and he's stolen prescription medication from me to get high. He's very jealous and has accused me of having an affair with every male I've ever worked with, all without any merit whatsoever. It got so bad at one point that he told me I needed to quit my job and stay home with my son. Then he criticized me for not having a job. I teach high school English, and he is jealous of my male students because he claims he sees the way they watch me and look at me. He's made my life hell. He criticizes and ridicules me for being a diabetic, saying he never intended to marry a cripple, which is hardly the case. I'm happy to say that he'll be getting served with divorce papers very soon. God help the woman who takes my place because he can't do anything for himself. He's never paid a bill, made his own doctor appointments, etc. He's exhausting. He's also that guy who likes to tell our son what a stud he was in school and how he eventually got the girl he wanted. While dating, he portrayed himself to be the man he thought I would see as husband material. However, I quickly saw it was all an act shortly after we married. If I had it to do over, I would have left the country to avoid him. The only good thing to come out of our marriage is my son. He was the most handsome and popular guy in high school. I was not. Saw him after just leaving HS and started going out. Ended up getting married in our early 20s. God knows why. I guess we thought it was just what happened next. He never grew up. All he wanted to do was play online games. But I mean constantly. He would get in from work, walk straight past me to the spare room, straight online and play until the early hours. Get a bit of sleep, go back to work. Same thing, again and again. Never wanted to go anywhere. Just wanted to game. Eventually, I gave him an ultimatum. He chose the game. From what I gather, he's remarried to someone else we went to school with and has 2 kids now. I was told she had to give him an awful lot of ultimatums before he eventually grew up. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.